Hello, everyone. This is Bob Hawk. I'm the Director of Sales here at WiSys. Thank you for joining our webinar. We're going to talk today about some of the new things that are happening with WiSys and the Macola ERP software. So, first I'd like to help you learn where you can discover things on your own with WiSys, so you don't have to always come to a webinar. I know it's fun to come to a webinar, but there are resources available to learn about what's happening. So in this webinar, we're going to take a look at what's in the WiSys blog, and then we're going to take a look at the release notes in our support site, and we're going to look at the YouTube channel so you can find videos when you might need them. We're also going to examine Agility 360 for the Android platform and compare that to the Agility mobile product. Then we're going to have a review of the Agility web application and how that supports Macola transaction from a browser. And I have a special guest customer presentation, someone who's using these applications on a daily basis, and you'll hear from that person soon. Okay, probably the easiest and quickest way to find out what's going on is to go to the blog, the WiSys blog. If you were at the WiSys website, the blog is right here. I have a hyperlink in this. I'm just going to click on it. It'll open up that page for me. So this is the blog, and just about every month or two or a quarter, we'll put a new note out here. So on the blog, each year, Don Beer puts out what we call the roadmap. Click that, you get a web page for the roadmap, and basically we go down through things that happened last year, so things that were achieved with the software. And then we have some things that have been planned for this year, and some of those have already been delivered. One of the things we're going to look at today is this new shop floor Agility mobile app on Agility 360. I think you'll like that. And if we go here, this is the Agility release notes section. So if you were to go to the support site and click on release notes, you'll get to what's happened based on the release. So sometimes I reach out to customers. I'll find somebody that hasn't updated in a couple of years, and I'll try and encourage you to keep up with updates. They are part of your maintenance, things like this. So if you look here, this is the shop floor applications that have been added to the handheld that really support the same transactions that are on the desktop. So you can see here all the different builds going back quite a long way that we have published for the software. Now 569 has had a lot of updates because it was architectural, and we've added the Agility shipping application that replaces ShipRush and does UPS, FedEx, and USPS. So these are the release notes. And then down below, these are the enhancements. You can see resolutions, things that were bug fixed. And down here, if you look at another one, sometimes there's just a few, sometimes there's a bunch, but that's what's going into release notes. Okay. I should mention that there is a little pop-out in the GoToMeeting. You can actually put questions in there, and we'll try to get to those at the end of the thing. By the way, you are muted, and that's okay because I'm the person talking. And the other thing is the PowerPoint that I'm going through today, I'm going to email that around so that you can use it internally if you want and remember some of the things that I've worked on. All right, the YouTube channel. Again, the YouTube channel is a hyperlink off of our website under Community. And at this particular place, if you wanted to search up here, this is where you find everything on YouTube. You can find Taylor Swift and everything she's all about. But if you want to search WiSys, you come down here. And this is where you can type in something that you might be looking for, like receiving. And when you do that, you'll get lots of videos that support receiving. So that's kind of handy. And there are quite a few subscribers. If you want to subscribe, I would encourage you to do that. There's 1,300 people and quite a few videos out here that I've done and other people have done at the company. So they're pretty handy to look up things, especially maybe for a new person that's joined the company and you're trying to educate them on specific things. You can just turn them loose on the YouTube channel. And then when you get a bunch of questions and you'd like to go over something with me personally, we can have a meeting. So it's a really good way to have some self-education. Okay. All right. Let's look at the next slide. And the Agility 360 is an application that basically is an enhancement to the Agility Mobile application. So Agility Mobile was designed on RDP, and the Agility 360 product is new because it's running as a web service. So it's making completely different communication calls back and forth to Macola. So I have embedded here a webinar that Don Beer did, and I'm going to go to minute 140 and minute 430 and just take a look at something. Okay, so if I just move the cursor along to 140 and go, you'll see here, if you've been an existing customer for a while using Agility Mobile, that's what it looks like here. This is the application that's currently available, and the new one is called Agility 360. So the look and feel is a little bit similar, but it has icons and things like that. But this one is running over RDP, and let me just support this a little bit, get some information here. So the RDP app is this one, Agility Mobile. It's running with the older Windows CE if you still have some of those old guns. The thing with RDP, Remote Desktop Protocol, is it requires a license. And depending on your Microsoft account, your IT guy probably knows the value of each one of those. But if you're going to scale, and we have customers that have 50, 100 scan guns, each scan gun needs an RDP license. And if you look over here, the Agility 360 application that's using Microsoft IIS, there is no extra license that's needed there for the communication. Plus, there's some enhanced features and functions that I'm going to show you in just a second. So let's go over to 4 and go here. So you'll notice on Agility 360, there's a camera, and you can take a picture of pallets or items that you're putting in boxes, and these pictures then become part of your Macola transaction related to a shipment. So that's pretty handy. And you can also get the geolocation of the event so you know exactly the coordinates where that took place. Just go back a little bit further. You'll notice there's a camera button and a pencil here. So the pencil would allow you to sign, just like when UPS comes and they want you to sign for a shipment. or a delivery, you could do the same thing now. Most of this would be done through tailoring. There's not one size fits all where people want a certain signature, things like that. Some of the natural places might be maybe a driver picking up a load. You might want to get a signature with that. Take a picture of each pallet going on the truck. So that's pretty handy that way. Okay. So this is a webinar right here that's about 30 minutes that you can watch when you're ready. Okay, I'm going to take a look at Agility 360, and you can see here Agility 360. Then I've gone down here and I've opened up the shop floor hour entry. You can see here is the shop floor, and I'm going to catch the employee badge number. I'm going to get the shop order, the operation, and then I would hit start. And over here, this is where I finish that. I push the stop button. There's a stop button here. And it keeps track of the elapsed time that you've worked on it. And then you might report either something being consumed at an operation, or maybe even the finished good, and then print a label for the item. Okay, so I'm going to come over here to my Macola desktop. Now, I'm going to open Agility right here. And if you look at the shop floor project, if you have the WiSys shop floor applications, there's a whole bunch of components right here. If I click on this one, this is the normal desktop component for doing shop floor recording of time. You can also issue components, rejects. This is where you start and stop, do indirect time. So this particular app is designed to run on the desktop. We had a number of people inquire, why can't we do that on the handheld? So we took some time and created that component for the handheld. And back here, we'll do the same thing again. Order the shop order entry, 16,747. Shop order 113. Let me see if I can scan it. There we go. Operation 20. And I hit start. So what that's done is it has logged that entry into a WiSys table in Agility. And we can go take a look at that. So here I'm going to go to shop floor hours tracked. And if I sort this, this is the transaction that I just did. So each transaction goes into this database, and then it's a process grid, which means you can come in here and calculate labor and then post the transactions to Macola. So it's pretty straightforward on how this app works. It either works on the desktop, or for those people that need a mobile environment, you can just use the scanner. Let me come back here. And I wanted to take a few minutes to at least underline that the same tool that you know how to do work with using the Agility Design Form Studio, that's what this is. This is the environment right here where WiSys builds applications. So you build it here, and as soon as you save it, it's then available to the gun. So I thought I'd show you what that looks like. All right. And we're going to come into the Agility Form Studio. Visual Form Studio is built on projects, so I'm going to open the standard WiSys project. And on the scan gun, you might have remembered there's a distribution tab, palettes, shop floor, pop, etc. And then within that, you have little components that you'd work on to do a project or just something that you want to run on the gun. So what I did today is I took the PO receiving project and I did what's called a copy, and I renamed it 1-PO receiving, so I know that I'm working on my own stuff. And the reason that's important is because you want to take a copy of the original so that when WiSys does an update, it doesn't wipe out what you've created. So over here on the right, there's information about the form itself. Then there's information about the place where my cursor is. So as I move from field to field, information changes right here. So something that you might want to do is, as a simple example, is maybe you want to make it clear that the description of the item is description number 1. So you would come in here and just change that, _1, step off, and you can see here I made a change right there. So that change is on my form, and when I click Save, it's now saved to the form. If I go back to the application, back here, and I'm now working on this tablet again that you saw, I'll go back to the Distribution tab and slide down here to PO Receiving. You can see here it says Description 1. Well, you think, well, that's not that big a deal. That was easy. Yeah, it was. I didn't have to compile code. I didn't have to import, export. I didn't have to do any real muss and fuss to do that. And if I want to put it back, I can just come back over here and I'll just change it back to what it was in the beginning. Again, step off, save, and then come right back to here. And if I just close this and reopen it, you'll see that the description was set back to what it was originally. So the Form Studio is on your system. If you have WiSys and some of the scan gun applications, then you'll have this framework tool, and you can have WiSys make changes for you. You can learn how to do it yourself. We do have some training videos on how this works. So that's pretty straightforward on the value of that. And I really think that what I'd like to underline is if you've been working with the Agility tools, the Form Studio, then it's the same tool you've already learned, and then you can run it on Agility 360. It'll just publish right over there, and you don't have to do anything besides that. Okay. So now what I'm going to do is we're going to talk a little bit about Agility Explorer. Most of you have this software that we have thousands of desktop seats. Customers are using this every day. But a lot of people don't know that there's the same type of thing available for the browser. So you can see here, there's a hyperlink right there that's using this particular tool. So let's just go over and take a look at that. And I need to be here. Okay. So just like Agility on the desktop, Agility Web has a menu over here. These are all the components, but if I click on Purchase Order Receiving, it'll bring up this particular app for the web. And it's going to go fetch some data. So here are some purchase orders in the system. So if I wanted to focus just like on Agility on the desktop, 930012, it'll focus down on just one thing. So here's a purchase order. And you can see here that there's 10 on order. I've received 2, 8 more remaining. So I'll go ahead and receive 3 more. So you'll see that it changed. It's showing you there's a change here. It also checks a box. When it checks the box, then I can use these buttons up on top. So if you're familiar with Agility Explorer, the buttons are at the bottom usually, and you can hit the Receive button. And now it's going ahead and calling a WiSys business process to go ahead and process those 3 receipts for each item. And you can see here it's done the receipt. It actually refreshed the screen, and it shows you the difference right there. And it also printed a label. So if you need labels and you have a browser available, you can print to your local printer doing that. So that would compare to what's over here on the Agility desktop, PO receipts. This is the same thing here. You'll see here, I just opened it and it's at 5. And if you wanted to do a receipt of 1 more of each of those using this desktop, it does the same thing, receipt. So it just did the receipt. Okay, I'm going to take a look at another component on the browser. And this is another popular one, the order pick management. All right, and I want sales order 588. And I want to print a pick ticket for this item. So here is my pick ticket that I need for that particular sales order. So it's pretty handy, pretty convenient. Those of you in IT that need to maintain, customers' apps on the desktop, the advantage of the browser, you can just plug it in and go. You don't have to do any updating of desktops. The other thing that I really like about it is it's you can put analytics on it and put those out in the shop. Really easy to display information, maybe how many shop orders have been processed today, things like that. Okay, let's go back. Now we're going to shift over and I'm going to introduce you to one of our customers. This is a person that you may already know. This person was the founder of Macola software. And during his late career at Macola, he was the person that created the integration between Macola ES and Synergy. This person then retired but had things more that he wanted to do. So he and his son created WiSys in 2005, and then he retired again. But he still had passion and he wanted to do something more. And so he bought this company. And today he runs Boca Manufacturing using Macola and Agility all day long. Who is this person? Of course, it's Bruce Hollinger. I would just like to call out that notice Bruce's face here and here. You can see the smile getting bigger, and now the smile is more of a relaxed smile. So without further ado, I'd like to introduce Bruce.
Yeah, hello everybody. It's Bruce Hollinger, and I want to do a little bit of a presentation what we do here at Boca Manufacturing. Since I assume there are quite a few manufacturers in the room. So I co-founded Boca Manufacturing with my son-in-law. So WiSys is with my son, and Boca is with my son-in-law. And the reason I went into Boca Manufacturing, other than my son-in-law was looking for something to do, was I've created software systems through Macola days and WiSys days for mid-market manufacturer. And then I decided I wanted to be one. So Boca is a mid-market manufacturer of walk-in bathtubs. And we have over 20 employees, 32,000 square foot of manufacturing facility. We're over 5 million in revenue, and we manufacture about 60 to 80 tubs per month. We have a capacity of about 150 tubs per month, unless we change manufacturing operations. Now we're unique in that we create these tubs from scratch. We build the molds, we spray gel coat onto the molds, and we spray fiberglass onto them. So the tech stack, what do we use here? So we use, Bob kind of explained Macola software. We're an M10 user, so we also have integrated synergy. And because we sell these tubs to the consumer, even through dealers, we have to generate consumer leads. So we have a pretty significant CRM system that we run through Synergy. We use Agility Web or AWE quite a bit. We use Agility Desktop or Agility Explorer, AE. We use the 360 scanners a lot. So like all the production transactions either happen on the floor or happen on the web. We don't use Macola at all. And we're using POP Plus. So when you use POP Plus, you really need to keep your transactions done through the WiSys objects. So we don't run any labor, but we do want to make sure our cost accounting works. We like to drive the production of consumed components to WIP, and then we finish off when we close the work order, so that finished goods are pushed to COGS in a standard cost environment. And we also use Event Manager a lot, but mostly Event Manager is used in our CRM processes. Although I use Event Manager to generate statements, AR statements to the dealers that fires off on Monday night at 5 o'clock. And that has helped a lot, and collections. So let's get on to some of the things we do. So this is Synergy, and in Synergy, we use the widgets sometimes to do our processing or look at data. So this is our production work order grid. You notice that we have different check marks here that shows the level of operations done. These are just extra fields that that we expose and use just to create those billions. And so if I want to look at like an order, so this is the production order and this is the order. They're tied together. We're a make to order shop. So if I look at an order, sometimes we'll just use the synergy grids or count cards. This is an order card to show the data if it's robust enough and it fits our needs. So we also, like, here's the customer card of the tub owner. All tubs here are defined by the tub owner, not the production order. So we always refer to them by their last name. The other thing I wanted to show you is POs and receiving. So these are our PO orders that are outstanding. I want to go to Balboa Group because I'm going to use this particular item as an example. And this is an ozonator. So we buy our pumps and ozonators and some other things from Balboa. We buy different components from different people, different vendors, obviously. And I have a quantity 10 and a quantity on order of 10, left on order is 10. And then I've got a quantity to receive is 0. So I can do the receiving in here. We only do that when we get a packing slip and somebody has not done receiving on the plant floor, which could be for a lot of reasons. It could be they're sick. It could be, it's just, that's how the process ended up. But we do both. So we just have, we just want to make sure that the receivings are done because we run a perpetual inventory here. So let's see if I can get the gun to work. This is like the things that Bob went through. This is kind of an iffy thing, but it's been running. So what I need to do is I need to build a wireless cast to see if this works. And it just takes a second here. There you go. Look at that. So what I was saying is that, like, and I want to start, before I go to the receiving, I want to do this MLI view. So you notice, like, all these things have BOK in front of them. We've made slight changes to match our environment. For example, here, you'll see that there's a type. And so we exposed a user field on the bin table, and we've identified things as picking and overstock. And this has a lot to do with driving, how we decide what bin we're going to use and manage letdown processes. So I just wanted to make that clear. There are multi-bin, and we have identified attributes to our bins. So now I want to go to, I have a lot of things on here because I have everything. So this is like the receiving I do on the gun. And I just shot that item. And, then typically I will shoot 10. In this case, I'm just going to look up and you'll see the same kind of type here. So I would probably put it in the overstock. I'm going to stop here because in screwing around, this is my live data. And earlier today, screwing around, I actually did a receipt. So I'm not going to go any further. But you would just put the bin in, the quantity, and then do the post. Sometimes the post button is executed right off the last field, which is what happened while I got stuck with doing a receipt. It's a very efficient if you're on the floor and you're trying to get your processes done. And and we started with 360, and that's how we built our operations. We use, let me see if I can get back to where I wanted to be. So we use these, sorry, getting this camera. We use these Android guns. And Bob showed a tablet. We started with those with ring scanners, and we had both, and everybody loves these guns. So I got about 5 of them. They're fairly inexpensive. And this has to do with the fact that, 360 supports these Android devices, and they'll run on any Android operating system past, I think, 10. I can't remember what the.
Yeah, I think it's 8 plus.
8 plus. Yeah, I think you're right. So you just got to make sure they're 8 plus, and you're good to go. So let me see where I was. So that's receiving, and then I want to go through the production order process. This will be fairly quick. So we put in orders in Macola, and even in Macola, we've made some slight modifications to the screens and using VBA. So I mean, both Macola and Agility are designed to be extensible. And, the bin type is actually on the bin screen in Macola. So the integration to the people here looks like that was just how Macola came out of the box. And that's the kind of fluidity you want. And so once you do the orders, then, well, this list of work orders only reflects what needs to be created. And so this is the beauty of kind of doing things in Agility is you can just give your employees only the data they need to see to get their job done. But if they want to drill down, and I have drill downs in a lot of places, they can. So you would just select all these, and then you would just do the create, and that's going to create production orders using the Macola objects.
Bruce, one person wants to know what model of scan gun you found to use.
I just went on Amazon and found these. It's basically an Android phone sitting on a gun handle. It's got a ruggedized case around it, and we've been using these in our plant, and our plant's concrete floor like most plants, and we haven't lost a single gun in 3 years. So
now, an older scan gun may not have a camera and some of the other technology that Agility 360.
This has a camera.
Oh, it does. Good.
And the camera is very interesting to us because, we do get into conflicts on shipping, where we'll ship a product to a dealer installer, and they'll say that the part wasn't there, or it was the wrong part, or things like that. And so then we have to ship new parts out, and we don't know who made the mistake.
Mm-hmm.
But it's important, not just the recovery of funds, but quality control, just to make sure that our people aren't being, when they do make mistakes, we need to make changes. And so this is something that I think we're going to want to use quite a bit as the camera. So I did so we create work orders on the desktop, but basically these are the work orders that haven't been reported yet. This is what I'm reporting, and then I would just post that, and then it would backflush all the materials to WIP. This is not a finished good process.
Mm-hmm.
I think I showed you some of the check boxes. There's a couple of processes where I can stop and do a report and backflush in the production work center processes. So what that does is it keeps a short period of time where, I've pulled goods out of stock and I haven't reported them as being consumed. But this is the best way we found to run instead of manually shooting all the components, which are quite a few. And it's worked quite well, and it's helped us keep a perpetual inventory. Our inventories are running about, I think last year I only had a 2% error in inventory all year.
Awesome.
So then I would close production orders. This is a complete close. When I close the production order, that's when I'm pushing the final WIP, closing out the WIP on the balance sheet, and then pushing the variance, which is the actual total roll-up cost, to COGS on my financials. So that just happens, and so I'm producing orders and invoicing them at the same time, and everything matches from revenue to COGS. And so this is like a dashboard that we use, and we use a lot of dashboards here, and we use them interactively. So this is the number of tubs we've sold so far this month, and this is the dealer network and what they have sold so far. And clearly, Easy Step is my biggest seller right now, and I want to know what they're selling, and what more importantly, I want to know the source. So this is the CRM side where everything gets tied to the source. The prospects come into sources. When the orders are put in for the dealers, we look for the customer in the prospect list, and then we convert the prospect to a customer in Macola. And therefore, we've got perfect closing ratios on all of our component, and those dashboards that we use extensively to analyze our CRM performance.
Is it easy to create a dashboard, Bruce?
Really, the only thing about a dashboard is SQL, right? I mean, you just need to write a lot of SQL. That's true of the entire agility. I don't care what you're doing, grids or what you're doing. Everything comes down to SQL. And, a lot of people do a lot of complex SQL in Crystal and have lots of Crystal reports. So, that has to do with just understanding the Macola table structure.
Mm-hmm.
And so, if you know SQL and you know what you're looking for, a dashboard is so fast. It's probably the easiest thing to produce of any of the components in the Agility universe.
Well, I can tell you that I created a bunch of dashboards myself, and I got about 80% in, and I needed help. So what's your phone number again? All right. Hey, we need to wrap up and go to Q&A.
Yeah, I'm done.
Thank you, Bruce. Let's go back here.
That was fun. Thanks, everybody.
Yeah, thanks, Bruce. Great to see you. Again, if you want to call me directly, here are my details to pick up the phone or email me. That'd be great.